Is using the FM editor cheating? That's just one of the many questions we'll be answering today as we talk about the joys of the FM editor. Football Manager's pre-game editor is one of the most powerful, if not the only real tool in the entire game, and definitely one that is fairly misunderstood. Used properly, this tool can solve a lot of long-term FM problems. Some people think it's just a cheat menu, others are terrified to touch it in case it breaks their save. But the truth is, this thing can fix realism issues, create incredible custom saves, or somewhat ruin your game if you do use it wrong. Yes, that can be true. So today I'm answering one simple question: what can you actually do with the FM pre-game editor? Now, just one thing to keep in mind as we go through this video and continue on with this video: this is not for console and it's not for mobile versions of this game. I don't believe there is a way to edit much in that game as in a pre-game editor. This is simply for the PC versions of this game. First things first, what is it? Let's clear up the confusion. The pre-game editor changes the database before you start a save. Once you hit start game, those updates are locked in and can no longer be changed unless you start the process over again, re-edit the database, and start yet another save. This is not the in-game editor. You cannot use this mid-save. You cannot undo things later without starting the process over again, like I just mentioned. So, who should actually use this? If you love long-term saves, custom challenges, rebuilding fallen giants, or fixing stuff that just feels wrong in FM, this is definitely for you. If you're someone who just wants to jump in, press continue, and react to whatever chaos FM throws at you, yeah, you might want to skip this one. This tool adds a ton of setup time, but in return, it does give you a lot of control. Now, before we fully get started, one thing to note: I am not an FM editor expert. There is a lot of stuff you could do here that I have no clue where to even begin looking how to do it. But I'm asked a lot about how to do certain things, so here we go. So what can you actually edit with the pre-game editor? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can edit things such as clubs, ownership. Want to simulate a takeover before a save starts? You can do that. You can also change out teams from certain leagues. Want to see how Manchester City does down in the championship? You can do that too. Players, you can edit positions, attributes like current attributes and potential attributes, personalities. This is also where people can kind of absolutely destroy realism, so let's be careful on this one. However, you can always make that god player you've always wanted to be. Staff, coaches, scouts, youth staff. You can raise or lower the overall quality of staff in certain clubs or even entire nations. Know of a new staff member you can't find in the latest FM database? Add them in. Nations, financial power, dual citizenship, tax rates can all be updated here. Competitions, some league rules such as VAR and pitch length, team registration, and structure. There are definitely a couple things you could do here as well. But now, with all that said, there is definitely things that this pre-game editor cannot do. It won't fix bugs mid-save, it won't guarantee wonder kids, it won't make bad tactics work. Kind of key for this channel. The editor doesn't control outcomes, but it can control probability. So how is the pre-game editor and the in-game editor different? This is kind of the question I see all the time. The pre-game editor, basically, before the save, it's permanent, structural changes, and it's free. The in-game editor, from FM at least, during the save, reversible, surface level changes, and you do have to pay for it. So if you want to shape the world, you want the pre-game editor. If you want to fix the world, you want the in-game editor. Okay, with all that said, let's dive into just a few examples. The first thing you'll need to do is load up the official FM database. If you don't, then the editor just has no clue what to work with. And don't worry, if you make edits to players, clubs, nations, or anything else, you are not writing over the database itself. The database stays safe. You are basically just making an add-on database that you will load in when you create a new save. The game will load up the official database and then any add-ons you select that will contain these edits. So nothing in the official database is ever really touched. So diving into the FM editor itself now, I've opened this a couple times and it automatically loads in the database. If it doesn't load in for you and you just see file, you can do file, load database, and it'll load in. It says, are you sure you wish to load the database again and lose all unsafe changes? Yes, I haven't done anything, so I don't care. But it is loading the official database that comes with FM26, and it will be the latest version of it. So once winter edition hits, then you'll probably load that one up as well. Now, all of these things is what you can change: agreements, awards, clubs, cities, competitions, continents, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff is things that you can update in the database. There are a lot of interconnections in this database, so these are the things you need to worry about. So if you, I'll get into this a bit later, but when you go to teams, if you change Manchester City and just throw them in the championship, it's going to break because the championship in this database can only have a certain amount of teams. So you can't just put a 25th team in there and expect it to work. Especially you can't take a team out of the Premier League, which needs to have 20 teams, and expect that to work. So first off, though, we're going to start off just by changing people. So it does have every single player in here, every single coach, everyone that's a player. So physios, scouts, things like that. If we wanted to take Ruben Diaz, Manchester City, you'll see when you go into a player, it has a ton of information. It has their name, their full name, their ethnicity, hair color, skin tone, things like that. We move on. International data has a bunch of, international appearances, goals, things like that. Contract type. He is Manchester City. You could see the date joined and all of this. It has contract appearance fees, wage per week, or whatever you have set it as. So it has a bunch of information, past transfers, some personal data, attributes, adaptability, all this information pressure that you'll see on their actual player profile when you get in game. Current adaptability, dependent attributes, mental attributes, physical attributes. So there's a bunch of information in here, relationships, favorite people, all of that. Now, the basic editing, it's very simple. So let's say I don't want him on Manchester City anymore. I want him on Derby County. Yes, that is cheating. But search, add condition, name. You want Derby County men's team. And you will see the championship right there. Okay. Well, now he's a Derby County player. Now you can update all the date joined and things like that. You can say it's a future transfer. There's a bunch of things in here that you can deal with. And if let's see, if I want to make him a goalkeeper, aerial attribute, what is it? 20 I thought was the highest. And if we finish it off here, he is now a god in goalkeeping. We're going to save this. Let's see if we save editor data as title is Ruben Diaz Goalkeeper God. We will save that. You can publish it to Steam. I am definitely not going to do that. We're going to do hidden here right now. So save that one. Okay. And let me show you how to load it up into the game itself. Okay, as you can see, we are in the game. We're going to start a new career. Now, before we touch anything, we're going to go to the database. Right now it says Football Manager 26. That's the official database. You can highlight this. If there's a winter update, things like that, it'll show here. However, the only thing we want to check off is that Ruben Diaz goalkeeping god. We're going to confirm that. Now, do you choose quick start career or advanced setup career? When you're editing players, you can go ahead and do the quick start career if you're not loading anything else. When you get to team updates and things like that, you have to use the advanced setup career. So we're going to use the advanced setup career anyway. Just stick with that whenever you're loading up your own updates, your own database add-ons, things like that. Always use the advanced setup. Go through this. You can make sure database is using that Ruben Diaz god just to make sure that that's actually working. Okay, so this is the advanced setup. We're going to go Premier League, England, men's. We are going to go to the championship, and we are going to start out as Derby County. Manager profile, go through all this, and begin career. Now, when we get to the squad, you can take a look, first team, and you will see our boy Ruben Diaz right here. Career stats, you can take a look. He was at Manchester City for all these years, up to 24-25, and now 25-26 is a Derby County player. He is all yours to play around with as you please. And as you can see, as a goalkeeping rating, he's a 9 out of 10. So for some reason, I know in previous FM editors, when you basically make a god 20s out of everything, it does kind of change a few things here and there, and he's not absolutely perfect. I never understood that, but I never really looked into it either. So now getting back into the editor, I want to just show you the clubs section. If I go to Man City, let's say I want to switch out Man City in the Premier League and Derby County in the Championship and just flip-flop them. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, again, the club is just like the player profiles. It has all the information that you could possibly ever want. Background color, foreground color, what their nicknames are, reserve team ownership, what kind of ownership they have, things like that. But if we go to competition, go to Premier League, you can see search. We are going to put them in the Sky Bet Championship. And this has to be a spot on perfect name. If you put championship, if I just put championship, everything, you're going to get so many different things. So you really need to know the name, Sky Bet Championship. And you could sit right there. We're going to click on that. We're going to hit OK. They are now in the Sky Bet Championship. However, because of the league rules, I'm going to save this and try and load it in and show you what happens. So we're back in the game. Now, one thing to note, what I've noticed here in doing this recording is every time I make a database update and save it, I have to quit out of FM the game and then reload it up because sometimes these databases aren't showing up. But we have this. We're going to take off the Ruben Diaz goalkeeping god. Man City Championship Test 1, where I have simply taken Man City and I have placed them in the championship, nothing else. So the Premier League should have 19 teams in it. But if I load this up, and as you can see, this time around, Man City is still there because there is an issue with the database where the Premier League has to have a set number of teams. And if you take one out and have one less, it's not going to work. However, in FM24 and before in the editor, when you would try and load this up in the game itself, it would actually give you an error, at least in FM23. I'm not sure about 24, but it would give you an error saying something went wrong. It's not going to work. You cannot load this database or you cannot start the save this way. And it sadly wouldn't give you exactly what happened, but you'd have to go back to the editor, figure it out yourself, and then try it again and again and again until you got it right. However, we're going to get back to the editor, change out Derby County, and show you that it will work. Okay, so we are back in the editor. You can see Sky Bet Championship for Manchester City. We are going to now go to clubs. We're going to search up Derby County. Go to their men's team. We're going to click on them, double click on them. Go to their competitions. Division will be Premier League. Search Premier League, and we will hit Premier League Men's, England, of course, and there they are. Now, we're going to save this editor data as we're going to do Manchester City Test 2, save it, and we are good, and we're going to get back into the game and show you that this time it does work. Okay, so we are back. Start new career. Again, always use advanced setup. We're going to take a look, just make sure Man City, we're going to take off the Test 1 because that did not work. Man City Test 2, confirm. Always, always, always use advanced setup career. Otherwise, it will not show up and will not work. And as it loads in, we look at Derby County in the Premier League. Manchester City is nowhere to be found. If I go to England Men's Championship, there we go. Manchester City in the championship, somehow predicted to finish second when they're expected to finish first in the Premier League. I don't get it. That's always been an issue. Things just don't load up correctly and they don't just work all that well. But as you can see, it now works. So those are just two simple examples of what you can do with the FM editor and how it can change your save. And again, there's so much more you can do with this. It is really a powerful tool if you learn how to use it correctly. So all in all, if you're new to the editor, here's what I would honestly recommend. Pick one goal for your save, make the smallest changes possible to achieve it, save the database add-on as something you can identify it as, create a new save with the add-on in place and make sure it works. Sim a season or two, make sure nothing breaks. And finally, the question everyone argues about, and probably will do until FM ends completely, is the pre-game editor cheating? Well, yes and no. Is it cheating to make your favorite player a footballing god so he can score almost every time he shoots the ball? Yeah, of course it is. But are you playing this team against someone else? No? Then who really cares what you do with your save? But now, is it also cheating to add Steven Gerrard at his peak into Liverpool's squad to see how he would have done? I would absolutely say no to that. Doing any of those sorts of changes just basically is a test and you want to see how it would have played out in possibly real time, but it is not cheating, to me at least, at all. You could even say that you're using it to fix realism or create a challenge. I would say that's improving FM, not breaking it personally, so not cheating at all. But in the end, however you want to use the editor, it's your idea, it's your save, so you can do whatever the heck you want. Consider it cheating or not, it's yours to do with as you please, so who cares what others say? Now, if you're getting into a game with someone else and you're using an updated database, I'm not sure if you can do that. That might be cheating a bit. But I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think any use of the editor is cheating, or are there certain circumstances you have no problems with calling it not cheating? Well, that does it for me. Hopefully you found something useful out of this, and if you did, drop a like, subscribe. Let me know what FM wonders you want me to explore next. And if you've ever avoided the pre-game editor, hopefully now you'll actually know what it's for and how to use it a bit better. That's it for me, Savvy FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.